All right, what's up everybody? This has to be a quick video because I'm on a big time crunch right now. So today's the last day of working on this tiny house for my friend David. We've reached an agreeable stopping point, and my grandpa Larry helped out a lot. We were here for, I think, a total of 3 working weeks, if you count 5 days a week. We had originally estimated 2 weeks. So we did go over on some labor estimate, but that's just because there was a lot of things that popped up. Little bit of our mistake, lots of other little things that were just unexpected. Just like when you jump into anybody else's project, you always got to kind of learn the ropes and kind of figure out what's going on. You don't know exactly how things were done up to that point. So just want to give a quick tour. I guess I did a tour already, just a quick recap. Just kind of high level of what we did and how the place is looking. It's really 95% complete. The place looks excellent. I'm so happy to have been able to help David out and you know, be able to help him finish his home. So I guess we'll just start in the kitchen over here. I think I already touched on a lot of things in here. We finished out the counters, running water. We put in drains with S-traps, which is like a P-trap, but instead of going P-trap and out, it goes P-trap and then down. All the gray water in this tiny house drains outside the trailer. David wants to, we put fittings on the outside, so David can easily screw on some extension pipes, but he wants to have it go into a gardening water system or plant watering system of some sort. So that's how we set it up. So yeah, so that's nice. Got the washing machine, also has a drain over here. Got a lid on this too. I've got some plumbing, some hard plumbing going to the Panda. This is not a permanent washing machine. It's meant to be portable or movable or whatever you want to say, but I don't know if you can see that. We set up a permanent drain with an S-trap down there, and then all he has to do is open this orange valve to fill the washing machine, and then he just selects drain, and it drains out the pipe to the outside. So that's kind of nice. It's a nicety of home, you know, nicety of a typical home in the tiny house, so that's really nice. The counter's a little bit off right here. This is one of the stumbling blocks we had. If David wants down the line, I think he might have me come back and adjust this platform down here so that we can flush this counter out. But it's pretty solid. That's what David wanted, was just for it to be solid and not, you know, not chintzy, and just be able to use it like a counter. So good there. I think I already talked about this closet. Larry built this closet. Got the water heater all plumbed and working. That was probably a day and a half total time for me spent just getting the plumbing system finished out with the right fittings. Also getting the gas line system set up. I had to do a pass through the wall down there, through the wall down there to the propane tanks outside. I'll show you those in a second. And yeah, this thing's working great. Had to get this installed, of course. The vent is ever important. And that's always a little bit of a challenge in itself because it has to be angled. It has to go outside at an angle so water doesn't collect. It also has to be caulked so bugs don't come in and all that. So yeah, I got that going on. This door, check this out. Finally fixed this thing. This was kind of a thorn in our side for a minute. This door was warped. Larry worked a good amount of time on this door and the frame, and I think it looks beautiful. Unfortunately, the door, this piece of wood had a bow in it we didn't realize until it was already mounted. So we got that cross brace. Actually looks kind of cool. Kind of modern medieval. But anyways, yeah, so that sucker is flush now. It was kicked out at the bottom whenever you close it, so that's nice. It was just a thorn in our side. Okay, move on to the living room slash office slash stairway slash plant repository, future plant repository slash storage area. Not much new to say here. I fixed some wiring on this thing. The 3-way wiring was not correct the way it was. It has a 3-way switch from here. When you walk out the door, you can hit the switch. Where am I going? To turn off the loft lights. So I had to get that fixed up and got a dimmer, 3-way dimmer hooked up there. Had to do some floor repair. That's one of the that was the thing that that we caused. We did have an oops moment and unfortunately had to replace some floorboards. But it all came out really great. Everything's laying flat now. Everything's flush. I think I already showed these before. We trimmed out the edge of the staircase just to kind of give it a little pizzazz. And it's kind of a nice juxtaposition between the industrial plywood look, you know, the tiger stripe bamboo, modern look, and then kind of your rustic cedar. And it really comes together cool here. So that's a really, really neat thing. Larry really did all that, so props to him. What else? The mini split, huge, huge deal. David was so ecstatic to get this going. We installed it. We had to put breakers in, run the 220 volts up to the front of the trailer where the exterior unit is. I'll show you in a second. And we got it all installed, but then it wouldn't kick on because it doesn't come pre-pressurized. So then David had to call an AC company, and I think it was like $550, but they came next day. So I guess that's the reason for the upcharge. But it works mint. It's freezing cold, 75 right now, but it cranks and it gets cold in here. So that thing is really cool. That's a Climair system, 12,000 BTU. Got this door on. I think we already had this on before. This is David's rustic bathroom door, super cool. But the tracks are really, really cool. Your modern barn door tracks. Kind of cool juxtaposition with the actual vintage door. And then I don't know if you can see it down here, but we had to custom make a little track down here in order to keep the door in check because the door was too wide for that track. Anyhow, it works excellent. Looks super cool. We even put the modern door handle on the old door. Pretty neat. And the piece de resistance, the bathroom. This was the biggest thing that we had to do when we first started out. It was the biggest thing on our to-do list. So I'm really happy it's all done now. David had these going on already. The other people who had worked on it before had started doing this. We talked to David and got a modern self-draining shower pan. He had a metal shower pan just like this galvanized steel, but it didn't have built-in drains. It didn't have breaks or lines in it to drain. So we got this going on. Put a piece of flooring on the side to kind of dress it up. And oh, check this out. The sink drains in to the shower. We didn't want to have another hole going through the floor. So I just told David, what about the sink just draining into the shower? What do you think about that? Because we already have the kitchen sink, the washing machine, and then the shower drains going outside. So this way we didn't have to, because this is a floating sink, obviously a floating cabinet, IKEA setup there. So with it going this way, we would have had to have a hole in the ground and the pipes going through. So if you're down low on the ground or sitting on the toilet or something like that, you would see that. And I thought from the get-go that would kind of look ugly. Plus it would be one more hole in the bottom of the trailer. So anyhow, point being, we got this cool little setup going on. Got the P-trap, and it just goes over to a metal tube. And boom, that's all you see. Just sticking out in the shower. Fancy little pipe. So that turned out pretty cool. And then David just put this in yesterday. It's a nice extra touch to really dress that shower up and keep the water in there. So it works pretty good. I think that's it for inside. Oh, the ladder. Duh. So the ladder. I spent all day yesterday doing this. And this is another one that's been talked about since day one. And David just got the hardware in about a week and a half ago. And got these nice cedar boards, sanded them up, made these things, and it turned out really good. So this is a 12-foot ladder bar, goes all the way across. You don't really need it over there because there's stairs to get up to that loft, the main loft. But it's a cool touch because that way you can have storage up there or plants or whatever and get up there. And this is kind of like your old school library ladder. Let's see if I can show you how it works. Kind of just pop it out, drag it out, and then boom, it's set up. And then you can kind of wheel it back and forth. And you can just take it down the line. And then when you're done, wherever you want to store it, here's a good spot. You just bring it in, kind of lift it up. You just kind of jam it in there against the ground. And boom, back in storage mode. Flushed out of the way. So that's a pretty cool thing. This is the only way to get up to the guest loft. Hang spot, storage, whatever David's going to do up there. That's the only way to get up there. So that was the whole point with this thing. But this thing's really cool. The wood I had to buy, and it came with kind of a template to do the holes. But all the hardware was from Rockler. It's Rockler, and they make some really cool stuff like this. So cool setup there. Okay, let's go outside real quick because I gotta take off. Okay, so today the big thing, not the big thing, but I had to go to Home Depot and go get a different pipe, so it just kind of really put my day off. But you know, measure twice, cut once. I measured once and had to take 2 trips. So so the mini split, the exterior unit, let me just go over here, let me back up. So this is the air handler for the mini split. These pipes need to be trimmed. The AC guy was supposed to do that and didn't do that, but that's okay. It looks all right. So anyways, these pipes go all the way up and over in this box that Larry made. So check that out, it's really trick. You know, you really can't even tell that's just not the regular siding that was there before. So those pipes and the power cord go up through there, over here, and into here. And that's where the air handler is inside. And then so the whole point of this was that it has a drain, just like any AC, like on a car or a house, and it drips water. So it was just dripping water over the door. So I got this cool 1-inch galvanized steel piping and made a gutter system. Not a gutter typically, like a typical gutter, but you know, tiny house gutter. And I think it looks super cool. It just comes over 90 off of there and then down, and then boom, just dripping out right here. Kind of looks like a house gutter a little bit. So anyways, I'm really happy with that. Got the LED porch light. What else was there? Talked about that. Had to do some exterior patches. Pretty much it. Oh, here's the couple other things I did last week. There's a LED motion light, so David can look out his bedroom window if the light turns on and see what's going on. There's the exhaust port for the water heater, and it's kind of funky. The siding was a challenge. You can see it's not totally flush. The siding was not flush, and so it was kind of a challenge to get that thing mounted right without the metal being wavy. So it turned out pretty good. Here's the gas system I was talking about, the propane system. I think David might like to extend this all the way to the tongue someday, but for now it works really well right here. And now he's got a port to work off of here, a 1/2-inch port that goes through the wall. And yeah, it just goes to your typical, you know, propane barbecue gas tank. And got 2 of those, got them on Craigslist actually. One was half full, one was totally full for less than one of them at Home Depot, so go Craigslist. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, also today I did some little trim work here. It looks kind of funky, this stuff right here, but before there was just a big block of wood and David really didn't like it. And so did the best I could on patching it up. Pretty happy with it. You know, you stand back here, it just blends in, and that way it's just the minimal amount of wood possible. I couldn't remove the wood altogether without removing this water inlet completely and opening the wall inside and doing all this business. So I just told him, hey, you know, I'll just make it as little wood as possible and just kind of shore it up with metal. So came out good. That took a little while today, but yeah, that's it. I'll show you one more thing if anyone's curious about the gray water setup coming out. So this one he's got going into a bucket. This is the one off the kitchen sink. You see it's got a male threaded nipple on there. And then here's another one. This is the washing machine one right here. You know, so that's how we did it. And that's just schedule 40 inch and a half pipe. So you can just thread, you know, any typical schedule 40 fitting on there and go to town with a watering system. So that's pretty much it. I'm checking out on the tiny house, on to the next project. And it's been a pleasure working on this thing. It's a beautiful home. And thanks again, David, for giving us a shot and working with us. This is the first time we worked on a tiny home. We've done the Airstreams and trailers. But yeah, thanks, David. Thanks, Larry, if you're watching. You always kick ass. And yeah, that's that. David's got some other stuff he's gonna do on this thing. And then he's gonna get it moved to the next spot. This is kind of where he's been working on it. He is living in it now, but he's gonna get it to the next spot soon where he's actually gonna, you know, live in it. I don't know, turn that page, that next chapter. So anyways, I'm going to look at a truck real quick because That's why I gotta hurry on this video. You can see, or you can't see, my need for a truck. I've kind of maxed my car out on what it can do work-wise. All right, that's it. Hope you're all having a good day. See you in the next one.